Well, good morning, everyone. This is my new video. It's called Top 5 Worst Things About Being Alive. I'm really not in a good mood today. Number 5 has got to be knowledge of mortality. Death itself is probably no big deal. All possible iterations of death sound pretty good, except those akin to eternal damnation. But knowing that it's gonna happen and the ensuing existential dread is a fucking nightmare. My life is literally the only thing that I have. I do not know anything else. I do not have anything else. And this little life of mine is very fragile and subject to tripping out and defying itself. I don't care what you promise God, Krishna, Buddha, fucking Zandu, because this is all I have, and I'm far too afraid of giving it up so long as I have it. Death is the end of life, the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain a living organism. Death eventually and inevitably occurs in all organisms, and nobody actually knows what's on the other side. Mad props to you if you have faith. I certainly wish I had stronger faith, but my anxiety supersedes nearly all of it. Don't worry, these are profound conversations I have regularly with my spiritual teachers, and these conversations will never end. I have reason to fear the unknown because I do not know anything beyond all this. Beyond all this. According to the Wikipedia article called Death, the only thing we can do right now to stop dying is cryonics, which is it requires just as much faith, if not more, than religion. Otherwise, the only surefire guarantee toward at least delaying your death, according to Wikipedia, verbatim, is a good diet and exercise. Coming in at number 4 is migraines. I currently have a migraine. It fucking sucks. Let me describe what it is I go through when I get a migraine, because it's always the same thing, and it's such a cruel method of torture because of how drawn out and debilitating and frightening it always is. Migraines start for me out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, there's usually like a buildup of poor sleep, poor eating, stress, shit going on that's ruining my mood, but typically it just kind of starts off as this rapid flash where suddenly every possible light source feels so bright that it's gonna burn a hole in my brain. Then I start to see those holes in my brain. They manifest as holes and white hot spots in my vision. And then my eyes get all hazy and it feels like I'm floating around the room when I try to look around. I can't walk straight. I certainly can't think straight. I look drunk as hell. I literally start like knocking shit over and like falling over onto the wall, trying to like keep my balance. I literally lose all awareness of where I am and who I am. I'm just tripping balls. And then my fingers go completely numb, but it feels like there's like a million needles in them. And then sometimes that numbness will travel from my hand immediately to my face, especially around my lips. So I hope you can understand that the first time this ever happened to me, there was no conflicting evidence to suggest that I was doing anything other than dying at that moment. These symptoms can last up to about a few minutes. I actually don't know because, again, it kind of feels like I'm just on psychedelic drugs, so time kind of starts to distort. Minutes either feel like seconds or seconds feel like minutes. But it all slowly subsides and is immediately replaced with the worst, most searing, and sharpest headache of all time. And that headache is always concentrated in one place. All the headache pain that you can imagine in the world, sharpened and fucking throbbing. And right here, right now it's here. And then the next 5 fucking hours is just me laying in bed, avoidant of all light and noise like a fucking hungover vampire. Oh, and then I'm just vomiting profusely. Fucking diet and exercise. That's how you prevent migraines, apparently. All right, number 3, worst thing about being alive is the common cold. I just recently got over a cold. I actually had one while I was filming the ADHD video, which is why you might notice my voice slowly fades away as the video goes on. Diet and exercise is one thing, but having a job in education where you're surrounded by children who have no etiquette when it comes to their snot is also a really gnarly risk factor for the common cold. And yes, please notice I'm saying specifically the common cold, not COVID, not the flu, not strep, just the common cold. Those things all have like medications and vaccines, and they come with predictable treatments and easy ways of identifying that you have it and predictable run times, and they kind of just hit you like a truck. Yes, they're debilitating, but the regimen is like, you cannot go outside, otherwise you're going to infect people, so please don't go outside. Stay inside, stay warm in a blankie, drink soup, skip school, watch cartoons. It's always great. It's always magical. A cold? Nah, fuck you. The common cold is far more sinister and sneaky. The symptoms are mild enough and typically not contagious enough to the point of you needing to stay home. No, you're fucking expected to show up. The onset, at least for me, is also extremely slow. The first fucking 19 days that you have a cold is like a gamble of trying to figure out, like, is this just gonna be a little tickle in my throat or an all-out assault on my fucking ears and nose and throat and eyes and asshole? You can't fucking breathe out your nose. The ability to breathe out your nose is what keeps you stealthy, it keeps you nonchalant, it lets you focus on other shit, it lets your face look fucking normal, but manual breathing through your mouth looks so stupid. And then every inhale, every breath you take in through your mouth fucking irritates your throat. And so then every 10 inhales is followed by a fucking cough. And that vicious cycle refuses to let up for even a second, no matter how slick you're trying to look. Also, good luck with fucking NyQuil, fucking Dayquil, Robitussin, Mucinex, hot tea with honey, sticking your face in a bowl of boiling hot fucking water with the towel behind you, or fucking weird ancient herbal remedies that your immigrant mother swears by. This is all just cope, bro. This is all copium. None of this fucking shit works. There's nothing in the world that actually effectively makes the symptoms of a cold less suicide-inducing. Because the cruel, cruel irony of this all is that if you are not actively experiencing the symptoms of a cold, that means you are not fighting the cold. You need to endure this suffering and torture and pain and damnation in order to actually get over the cold. And it fucking sucks every single time. Again, apparently avoidable via good diet and exercise. So again, this is all on me. I'm just complaining about shit that I could have prevented. Number 2, crashing out from a broken heart. This one's for all my certified lover boys out there. Oh, wait. You know why every song is about falling out of love? Because nobody understands how to deal with it. So every week, we need a new song written from a new perspective to help us cope with the second worst thing that ever happened to anybody. I have seen men fall. I have seen people die. She don't miss me. You think you know someone, man. You really think you know someone. You are loved by them, and you are trading war stories with them. You become a part of a brand new world. You start wearing a fucking silver chain, and you look dumb as hell. But you don't care, because you look much dumber every time you see their face because of all that uncontrollable giggling and that impossibly energized zest for life, that zest for making them laugh, making them smile. And then it ends, and then they're gone, and then the next time you see them, it's like nothing even happened. Like that galaxy that you guys created from the supersonic friction of your worlds fucking colliding, it just washed itself away in some black hole? Do you even know who you are anymore? Yeah, that shit sucks, man. Again, apparently avoidable via good diet and exercise. So again, this is all on me. I'm just complaining about shit that I could have prevented. But you know what's worse? Number 1, liking Kanye West music. I fucking hate this man. My cultural moment is very concerned about virtue. We are relatively enlightened people with an overabundance of evidence which proves most things. We have most of the answers to most of the questions. We have entertained most of the dialogue pertaining to most of the issues. If we didn't go to school, we had Google. And if we didn't use Google, we used Chat motherfucking GPT. The answers, the stories, the proof are so readily available and have been so thoroughly reinforced through myriad examples and procedural evolution that there's very little excuse for not knowing. Yes, of course, a diversity of opinions is not only to be expected, but also encouraged. But, and this is me getting real specific about my perspective here, so just take this with a grain of salt, our collective pursuit of knowledge and of enlightenment, of perfect social order and collective prosperity necessarily comes with some assertion of what is right and what is wrong. I personally believe that there is a universal order, some sort of objective morality. I think that there are things that are, in fact, absolute goods and absolute not so goods. I can't tell you what they are, I can't tell you who decides them, but what I can say is I'm pretty sure all this work that we're doing to achieve this enlightenment is revealing some notion of truth to us, and that a great many of these truths may have already been revealed to us in some way or another. Not gonna say who, not gonna say how. But here's one example, all right? The genocide of a race, okay, or a class, or other kind of group of people is wrong, and it shouldn't happen. There's likely at least one alternative solution to the problem you're looking to solve via genocide. But genocide is an absolute wrong. I think this is a worthy candidate for such a universal consensus. I believe that we can classify this as a truth that we have arrived at over many thousands of years of trial and error. Okay, so my cultural moment is virtuous. We pride ourselves on our virtue, and we aspire toward virtuous enlightenment. And we have demonstrated some degree of impatience with those who fail to uphold our virtues. Some people call this cancel culture. I don't think cancel culture is real. I think that you are sorely mistaken if you believe that you or anyone else can be or has been canceled. My unshakable proof is that Donald Trump is the president of the United States and that Mr. Beast is the most popular YouTuber. I don't care what you think of these people, you cannot deny that these people, as they exist today, the lives that they lead and their respective stated purposes for how they lead those lives is fundamentally antithetical to the virtues that my culture has subscribed to. If anyone should be canceled, it's them. And they are not. They actually represent the highest amount of power because people don't get canceled. And I think you're stupid for thinking that they do. And it's not just that those who amass power are then granted the inalienable right to abuse that power, but that I think cancellation is also antithetical to the very fundamental truths of life. Because let's just fucking wildly posit, okay, that one such basis upon which I might seek to define universal truths and absolute good and evil is the word of the Abrahamic God, all right? Sinning at all, no matter what the sin, is never a ticket straight to hell. Sinning is instead the default state of humanity. Since Adam bit that apple, we are all guilty because we all, as human beings, are the products of a bitten apple. Enlightenment, righteousness, Christianity, which is literally the quality of being like Christ, which is just one example of the Abrahamic religions. I'm just using this one because it's the one you know. These are the things that we actively seek out and uphold. The expectation is that now that we have come to know what it means to be Christian, now that we have been invited to Jesus's safe zone, we know better than to keep chasing the high off of the apple. We know now how we ought to be, and we should try our best to be that. No religion, no ethical philosophy, no nothing says that this quest for being virtuous is easy. To lead a life of virtue and of righteousness is to struggle against yourself all the time. It is to place yourself firmly in the center of a conflict that you are inherently built to lose. Because you bit the apple. You're fucked, bro. Everyone knows this, which is why humanity will not have a 100% damnation rate when it's all said and done, because yes, every last one of us has sinned, is sinning, and will sin. No one is without sin. No one will ever be without sin. No one will truly be Christian. And so, no one will be canceled, because nobody is immune to wickedness and weakness. You, my friend, have done truly terrible things, and you will do more truly terrible things even if you try not to, even if you know better, even if the Lord came down 2,025 years ago to spell it out to you exactly what you should and shouldn't do, you will still fuck around. I love people who have done unimaginably terrible things. Excuse me while I ascend my annoyingly high horsey chair here, but I believe my ability to do that, to love people who you might immediately write off as evil, is a reflection of how awesome I am. I have built this patience and this sense of forgiveness only after several intense periods of deep emotional and spiritual conflict regarding these people and their devastating errors. I have been deeply personally affected by their errors. I have been traumatized. I have been forced to think and to feel and to act and to witness. I've seen some shit. I've been going through some things. I know that this cannot be 100% true, but knowing what I've seen and what I've been through, I sometimes make an assumption that people who are a little too quick to denounce someone for their supposed impiety probably hasn't had to deal with many horrible people in their lives. I sometimes wonder if they are capable at all of seeing humanity in people who are flawed and who have sinned, based on how they treat people who have. Conversely, I think people who are excessively liberal about saying what they want to say and doing what they want to do and forgiving people who have erred and, not caring or wanting people to suffer the consequences of their horrible fucking evil misdeeds are probably terrible fucking people who have no idea what hurt and consequences and trauma and suffering and pain and injustice are, because they probably come from the same amount of privilege as those who expect everyone to be on their A game all the time. All right, okay, I fucking hate Kanye West. I've completely run out of patience for this motherfucker. Actually, I ran out of patience for him in 2016. Listen, I take all forms of artistic expression very seriously, and I believe that those who excel at creating beautiful and meaningful and culturally significant art are really enlightened in some way or another. Artistic genius does not exist in a void. I believe that there's a whole lot of genius that goes into being an artistic genius. I think Kanye West is a fucking tactless moron, and every word that comes out of his mouth pisses me off. And all that I said about how, all people are capable of making mistakes and we should still love them. I'm not talking about Kanye, I'm talking about me, because I don't defend this man. I am making a colossal error by still fucking listening to his music. I don't defend this man. I make no excuses for his behavior. And I don't need to. He is so secure and fine on his own. He is always going to have money and power and influence and an entourage. He doesn't need my approval, nor do I give him my approval. What I would say, and what I will still say now, is that there is obviously something very wrong with his brain that inhibits his ability to act any more rational than like a 12-year-old white kid who just found out what dark humor is. And I could go on all day about my other philosophy, which is that I don't believe that we have free will, and that I usually don't really blame people for the things that they do, but I don't even care to get on all that, alright? Fuck that. I just want the music, bro. And listen, as a fan of the Kanye West music, there was such a long time where it really didn't matter what he was saying and doing out in the world, because when it came time for the music to drop, he was somehow able to synthesize all of that shit into beautiful albums that I love. And I'm someone who, I think in the grand scheme of Kanye West fans, I'm someone who has moved the goalposts considerably further out than I think most people. My greatest example being, I think Donda 2 is good, and that album came out in 2022. So that's already post all the Trump stuff, all the anti-black stuff. I don't think he had quite become a full-blown anti-Semite in public yet. But what was happening during this album's release, and what is inherently baked into the content of the album, is his extremely ugly divorce from Kim Kardashian, which we are still experiencing the effects of today. But the music, man, the music is still there. That album at its peak is a fantastic breakup album. So again, that's not me defending the man. This is me defending my own music taste. This is me holding out for Kanye to continue delivering music that I love. And now I can't even fucking have that. I've run out of excuses to give myself because it just ain't working anymore. Vultures 1 was fucking dog shit. Vultures 2, what the fuck is this shit? I listened to Bully once. That's the one that's just a long video of his son in a wrestling ring. It was fine forgettable. I remember I kind of liked the last song, but I don't know, I don't want to listen to it again. So nowadays, I'm not even paying attention because the music isn't doing it for me anymore. I really want to because I want to have good music, and I really like Kanye West's music, so I feel like in a perfect world, I can rely on him to give me music that I like, but holy fuck! I started catching wind of these new song titles and this new potential album and its titles, and it's like, no way. No way you're doubling down on this. I'm not doing this. Kanye, I'm not here for this. Fuck you. Everything I've learned about this man in the last several months, I have learned entirely against my will. Truly unconventional sources, people who I've never once talked to about Kanye, knocking on my door, giving me these fucking tabloid headlines about how he was in homosexual love with like a YouTube makeup artist. Who the fuck cares? And then earlier this week, I had the severe displeasure of hearing a Kanye West song that was so bafflingly stupid. I'm not even gonna fucking dignify even what the song could potentially be. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, you don't like it. You're going insane. Cognitive decline. Cognitive decline is so fucking scary. Cognitive decline is probably the worst thing about being alive. Because how can you go from making music that I would stay up all night with as it comforted me and it related to me and it gave me the guidance and the wisdom and the sounds and the fucking spirit to go through what I was going through? How can you go from that to me actively avoiding your music in broad daylight when your songs aren't even a minute long and we're like driving somewhere so it can just play in the background? I don't even have to pay attention. It's getting bad, man. And like, here's another thing. I'm invested in the evolution of Kanye as an artist. When he makes new music, there's a logical through line from the earliest project to now where you can see how one thing leads into another, where seeds are planted and then where flowers bloom. And now I have to live with the knowledge that this is what his music amounted to. This was the conclusion of the story. I cannot emphasize how upsetting it is to know that. Just, Kanye, please, fuck you. Kanye, please let me enjoy your fucking music. You Nazi fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, Kanye. Again, apparently avoidable via good diet and exercise.